So I am here in front of the Beverly Hills City Hall, which is a voting center that has been open for the last 11 days now. This is the second voting center that I've come to observe. The first one was at the Beverly Hills Women's Club, which just opened today and is going to be open for 4 days. And there I was met with a lot of suspicion because I saw a lot of things happening that we were afraid might happen, and I was trying politely to talk to the poll workers about it, but they were being very defensive and they thought that I was criticizing them. One couple who did not know that they were supposed to, after they reviewed their ballot, put it back in the printer and click cast my ballot. They were ready to walk out with their ballots. And this was one of the things that I had talked to the poll worker about. I said I saw this happening on Twitter, and she got very offended, saying it's not happening here. And then within minutes, I saw it happen in front of my own eyes. And luckily they were caught because there weren't that many people in there, and they were instructed on how to put their ballot back in the printer, click cast my ballot, and then they left. And here's an interview that I got.
Hi, my name is Jacques Wertheimer. I think you asked about my voting experience. Yes, when the printed ballot came back to me, I thought it was a receipt for what I had voted. I did not realize that I had to put it back in the machine to cast my vote. Had I not been intercepted by one of the voting people, I would have walked out with the printed receipt and my vote would not have counted.
Well, I kind of liked the old system. That was my issue, but I guess I have to move with the times.
Now, I noticed that you had your ballot in your hand. You did not know that you were supposed to put it back in the machine, click cast my ballot. Do you remember whether they told you that when you checked in or not?
I don't remember being told that, but they did stop me from leaving with my filled out ballot. They need to put a big sign, don't forget to put your ballot back in the machine when you finish voting.
Then I noticed a woman who had come in. They told her she was no party preference and that she was entitled to vote, to get a crossover ballot to vote in another party's election. And they told her that 3 parties were Democrat, American Independent, and Libertarian. And which did she want to vote in? And she said Libertarian. So when she got to the place, the part about casting her presidential ballot, she said the ones that I want to vote for are not here. So she had to go back to the check-in desk 3 times and spoil her ballot, because every time they put her name in to recheck her in, it said she already voted. And they were trying to give her a provisional ballot, and she didn't want that. So finally, on the 3rd time it worked, she got a Democratic crossover ballot, and I followed her outside and got an interview with her.
I just don't really like how everything is so black and white. I feel like you should be easily able to vote for, who you think the best candidate is, not so like, you're in this party, so you have to vote for this person. So yeah, it was kind of disheartening to have to go through multiple rounds to try to get the candidate I wanted to vote for.
Her point was that she should not be so restricted by a party, and I understand that, but the fact of the matter is these parties do have the right to decide who are going to vote in their elections. And I think it's good that the Democratic Party does allow NPP people to vote in their elections, because the Republican Party sure doesn't, and the Green Party sure doesn't. So then I came over here to Beverly Hills City Hall, or Civic Center as it's called. The woman who was the lead there could not have been nicer to me. She basically explained to me what was going on. I observed all the people checking in at the desk. Everybody was instructed properly. People were being given a concierge-like voting experience, if you will, because there were so many volunteers there that they were able to walk over and assist people with these machines as they were voting. And there were only a couple of problems that I noticed. One was that a woman said she was registered, but they couldn't find her in the electronic poll book. And she had come yesterday, and they tried to call the Registrar of Voters, the 800 number, and they waited on hold, and nobody ever picked up, so they told her to come back tomorrow, which was today. And the gentleman said he started calling at 7 a.m., not even knowing if they were open then, because he wanted to help this woman vote. He got a message that said you'll be placed on hold, but after 10 minutes, you'll be disconnected. So he tried several times, was disconnected several times, and finally he just told her that if she wanted to vote, she needed to vote provisionally. So she was there filling out her provisional ballot. I asked her if she wanted to interview with me, and she said no. The other thing I noticed was there was a gentleman who was complaining about the More button. And even though they put a yellow circle around it that was sort of pulsating, it really wasn't as big and prominent a yellow circle and a pulsation as I thought it was going to be. As a matter of fact, even the poll worker did not realize that it was pulsating until I pointed it out to her. She told me that she thought they could have done more to make that button more prominent. But I did see signs, an electronic sign even at the entrance, basically saying that you need to press the More button, and even talked about the fact that there were 6 candidates for city council. Because if you watched my show before, you'll know that Julian Gold was not in the first page, and he was worried that people were not going to see his name. Anyway, I asked this guy if he would talk to me afterwards. He said he would talk to me, but he didn't want to talk to me on camera. He didn't even want me to audio record what he said. But his basic point of view, even though I told him that the presidential candidates rotate by assembly district, he didn't even think that was good enough. He thought all candidates should be on the screen at the same time. And he was pretty adamant about that. But I do want to report that at least at this precinct, and maybe tomorrow I'll go to a different precinct in the morning, because they also have a precinct up at Tree People, which is at the top of Mulholland Drive and Coldwater Canyon, to observe how the election is going here. But from what I can report here in Beverly Hills, everything seems to be going pretty smoothly. I had an opportunity to talk to people just now as I'm leaving who turned out to be Bernie Sanders supporters, and they were very happy with the experience. Here's what they had to say to me.
The new machines are great. It's really fast and very simple. You have to get used to not having a curtain around you, but there's nobody there that's looking over your shoulder when you're voting anyway.
Yeah, I'm not a very technical person, so it was very easy. I recommend that we do this from now on. Everything's very clear, and everybody was very helpful, and it would be pretty difficult, I think, to screw it up, as long as you take the time to read.
Yeah.
And take the time to, don't read first, press later.
My name is Marie Claire Cates, and I came to vote.
How did you find this new experience with the new voting machines?
It takes a little bit of getting used to. I'm glad that we had assistance in there, but there's a part, it's like I remember going through the presidential candidate, and it's like I couldn't find the name of the candidate that I wanted, but thank God it's like you have to scroll down, but it doesn't say that. So that was a bit of a challenge.
They rotate the presidential candidates by assembly district.
Right.
And there are 20 candidates in 80 districts.
Yes.
So that means whoever your candidate is will only be number 1 in 4 areas. Now,
okay.
4 districts. Now here, since I vote in this district as well, Bernie Sanders is last.
Yes.
So you would have to, not so much scroll, but you have to press the More button.
The More button, that's correct.
Like 4 times till you get to his name.
And that made me nervous. But when I saw his name, I felt at ease. But, that could be a challenge if you don't know, if you're not techie.
Another thing that observers are reporting is that people don't realize after they review their ballot, they have to put it back in the machine.
That is, I didn't know either. So I literally just took the paper and was leaving, and a lady came rushing after me, and she said, "Oh, you have to insert it back, and then you need assistance because it's a different way of voting." So I'm lucky I got some assistance, but I can't imagine if you've never done it, and and it's a busy day, and that's the thing. That would be a challenge.
Yeah, this is what I'm worried about for March 3rd.
Yeah.
They're not going to have such customized concierge service here,
right,
which they're helping everybody vote.
Exactly. So just make sure you ask for assistance if you need it, please. Very important.
Are you registered as a Democrat or no?
I sure am. Proud Democrat and feel the burn.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
My name's Ron Manis, and it was really good. It was really easy and quick, and seemed really obvious how to vote and what to do.
How were you alerted to the fact that we now have 11 days of voting and there was early voting? Do you remember how you...
I think this,
Yes.
the mailing that they sent.
Okay. And are you registered in a party, or are you no party preference?
I am registered in a party.
Okay.
I like a party.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like to party?
Right. And what did you feel about the fact that there was this more button? Was that evident to you that in, say, the presidential candidates?
Sure. That there were more down below. Yeah. It followed pretty exactly the order that was on the ballot that I practiced on, that I brought with me.
Okay.
So I expected it to be in the same order, and it was.
And as far as when the ballot came out and you were supposed to review it, did you leave it in the printer, review it there, or did you take it out?
I took it out and looked at it and then put it back in and fed it into the machine.
So you knew you were supposed to do that. Nobody had to come along and tell you that.
No one had to come along and tell me that. That seemed
Okay,
pretty
because some
obvious.
people have been walking away
Right.
thinking it was a receipt.
Right.
And they weren't putting it back and clicking cast my ballot.
Got it.
Yeah. So all in all, do you think this was worth the 10 years and the $300 million this county spent on it?
Well, when you put it that way, it sort of lends you to think that's a lot of money. But it seemed like a great system, and I can't believe that. I always thought, how come they're not modernizing this? It seems like they waited way too long to come up with a better system than the system they've had, which is sort of archaic. So I don't mind the technology. I liked it. I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it worked well. But,
Yeah.
just from a user experience, that was good.
Are you willing to share the candidate you voted for president and why?
Sure. Yeah, I voted for Bernie Sanders, and I thought a lot about it and was really conflicted on which way to vote, and ultimately thought that last time we went with a more conservative electable candidate in Hillary, and that didn't work. And so maybe it's time to try something a little bit more progressive.
So tomorrow I will be reporting live from the line at the Bernie Sanders Public Enemy rally at the Convention Center. Then on Monday, I may be covering Marianne Williamson's rally for Bernie. And on Tuesday, I'm going to be covering the Nomiki Konst show as they do their election night coverage. And I hope to interview her prior to that coverage, and that's where I'm going to be enjoying watching the returns. So until you next see me, this has been Lauren Steiner reporting for the Robust Opposition here in Beverly Hills.